Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm better than I've ever been in my whole entire life.
Wow, that's good to hear. That sounds good. That's awesome. So, I'd just like to get right into our questions, unless there's anything that you want to say before we got started.
I want to know what you want to know from me. I'm more interested in what you want to ask.
Awesome. That's great. So glad to hear that. So, I'm Stephanie Tisdale from Liberator Magazine, and one of the first things we want to know is about walking with gods. It begins with references to ancient Kemet, which we're introduced to through Akeharu, as well as the Khan symbol, J-Nyame. So, what aspects of these traditions are most valuable for Alex Light's journey?
Well, the thing is, it's actually a whole lot more than that. What we did was we took a synthesis. If you look at the makeup of his homeland and you look at some of the symbols, a lot of people looked at a lot of the Kemetic stuff that they saw, but it's actually a synthesis of a lot of different parts of Africa. What we wanted to do was just sort of make a healthy synthesis so that people who were into those different areas would find some kinsmanship with it. One of the plans that I have, I don't want to let too much out of the bag, is once Walking with God becomes really big, I want to create a hyperlink to anything that you see on there that you can dive into the internet and figure out what that is. Why does he have on this? What does this symbol mean? And I hire some different friends of mine who are doctors at different colleges and institutions to just take those different symbols and that aspect of maybe Egyptian culture or some of the things that came from Timbuktu and all of these different places, all these different things that we put into it, that kids, whatever color, can figure out and really respect, different aspects of African history.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, speaking of which, that leads into our next question. So, you have Dr. Joy DeGruy and Bill Duke among the special consultants for this series. I was curious to know what kind of advice maybe Bill Duke gave you as a director and Dr. DeGruy with her work as the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Just curious to know what their influence was on your work and how you got things done.
Well, Bill Duke and my mentor, Dr. David Moody, were real big reasons why I made Walking with God. Bill Duke challenged me. He said, get off your ass. He said, make this in a month. He said, stop playing. If it's something that you really want to do, do it. He said, I'm going to give you a month. Let me see what you're going to do. Bill Duke was also the one who showed me how to chop the episodes up to keep people excited. Dr. Joy DeGruy is one of my mentors as it pertains to, just the psychological effect of what has happened to black people, especially as it pertains to the transatlantic slave trade, as it pertains to what we've gone through just in slavery, period.
Right.
She also was the one that helped me carve out, every episode has an underlying meaning, whether it's black love, whether it's, believing in self. There are these little small things that maybe people will see and maybe they won't. But just about everything has a meaning, and she was one of the ones that helped me carve out those meanings.
Gotcha. Perfect. So what do you hope for people to gain from watching Walking with God? Okay, we know there's going to be many more episodes and much more to come about, but what do you hope that people leave these episodes with? What do you want them to gain, from these episodes?
I don't, that's not really my place. I was telling somebody earlier that maybe Walking with God is much bigger than me. Maybe God, I've noticed this, that sometimes God makes us a conduit. Different things mean different things to different people. Actually, Erykah Badu taught me that. She was like, stop trying to explain everything. She said, because maybe it's bigger than you. Let people interpret it and let it be personal to them. Only thing that I have to do is make sure that it's coming from a good place and make sure that the information is correct. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it will stand on its own. So I'm just hoping that people watch it and that people enjoy it, because the thing that I promised myself, when people see David Banner, I just want people to know that it's the best that I could possibly do. Like, that people are going to get something quality, that they're going to get something that they can be proud of. That's the thing that makes me the most proud. Like some people get mad, you know, when somebody say, you know, stuff like, oh, man, it was exciting. You know, when they put all this deep stuff in it. Like, I just want it to be dope. I have some things that I want people to get from it, but that ain't your place. You just present it to people, and hopefully the God inside of them will move them in a direction, because God may have something different for that individual when they see it. You know, let it work.
So just basically being a vessel and allowing the inspiration that comes from it to just move through you, as opposed to just trying to control how people receive it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. We are not great filters. You know, we have so many things, and that's one thing that Dr. DeGroot teaches me, is that, you know, black folks have went through so much, man. We got a lot of hang-ups. So, you know, when the God inside of us is speaking, a lot of times when it comes through our filters, it's so distorted. You know, so just allow it to be. And I'm just thankful to be able to, you know, for God to put me in the, think about this. And I told somebody this earlier today. Imagine how God-like that is, for God to give you the ability to think something, and then people are calling me about it. This is something that I paid for with my money. Or the money that was given through 2-in-1, and the money that I do, because I put a lot of money into it myself. But to be able to think of something, and for you to congregate and for other groups of people to help you with a vision that you have, and for it to be manifested and people like it. You know, I got, like, I don't remember the number, it was like 300 likes and only one dislike. Just one. And you know how people are on the internet. Not that that matters to me at all, but that was a sign to me. Like, wow, people are gravitating to this. I mean, gangsters, I mean, teachers, I mean, Jackson State called me and, like, they want to put it on their television. They want to put it on TV. You know, teachers are telling me that their kids are writing papers about it. I had one dude to do a whole YouTube segment about it. You know, little young guy telling me that, you know, I was his new hero, and that's a lot of pressure. But for you to have a thought, and for that thought to influence and spark other people is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so that leads on to our next question. So you mentioned the 2-in-1 movement, and you seem to have a strong desire to remain an independent artist. How have you been able to balance mainstream work as an actor and music artist with independent projects like the 2-in-1 movement and Walking with God? Especially with, like, your new album. How are you able to, like, you know, keep everything balanced?
Just prayer, meditation, and taking one thing at a time. Mr. David Moody, my mentor, taught me that. He told me one of my problems is that I do too much all the time. You know, honestly, as much as it may seem, I'm working about 70% less than I used to and getting more accomplished because I'm doing one thing at a time, concentrating fully on one thing at a time. It's funny that I wanted to write about this, and I'm going to tell you before I write about it. One of the worst things that happened to America recently, I mean, not from, like, you know, not as bad as something exploding, but something that happened to the minds of America is in the 90s, this big thing of multitasking. You know, that's the reason why people don't have great memories. We're trying to do too much. Just do one thing, do it great, finish it, and move on. Instead of kids and never really completing one thing great. That was one of my problems as a rapper. When I would get close to being respected as a lyricist, then I would go produce Wayne's album or go and produce T.I.'s album. Then right there when I was close to being on that level of a super producer, then I'll go do a movie. You know what I'm saying? Instead of staying in one place like Tupac did. Tupac became one of the best rappers ever. He really wanted to be an actor. Then the acting came to him by him totally doing what he was supposed to do first. Mm-hmm. I thought I'd give you 10 more minutes, too. I'm enjoying this interview.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Speaking of Tupac, that's actually a great segue because on Sex, Drugs, and Video Games, you feature everyone from Big Crit to A$AP Rocky, Ras Kass, and Lil Wayne. You blended a wide spectrum of artists on the album independently, which is pretty groundbreaking. What do you want people to hear when they are listening to the album? Was there like a particular purpose around doing that? You know, bringing all these different people together? What was it about?
None of that. I don't plan on ever doing the old David Banner again. I'm metamorphosizing right now. I'm turning into a different being. I don't even know what that's going to be. I'm actually excited to see what I'm going to be as a rapper now. But the thing that I always give the example of Andre 3000. You know, when he made his big change, he just totally stopped doing that. I know as a fan, I still to this day would love, even though I've moved on, I still would love to hear an old Andre verse. So instead of keeping all that stuff together, I just wanted to give it all to the fans. Like here. Like this is, you know, instead of just stop doing certain things all together, I said I wanted to find a way to package it. And if you really listen to that album, if you really get a chance to sit down, it wasn't really the music. It was the interludes. Because even some of those songs I really wasn't comfortable with putting out. So what I did, I give you an example. I did one interlude where I had a girl that asked me, like David Banner, you know, would you let somebody call your mother or daughter a bitch? Then I said no. Then she said, then why would you call somebody else's mother or daughter a bitch? Sex, drugs, and video games. Then I go into a song talking about bitches. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sort of talking to myself, whereas I normally wouldn't have put that album out, that song out, but that was sort of a segue into making people think. Like, damn, he just said that, oh, damn, that's dope. Like, why do we do that? And I think we don't talk enough as black people. Black people, we assume that everybody is like us and they understand. But for that, I wanted to put that into people's mind as they go into certain songs. So I just wanted to give all of that to the people, you know, who are David Banner fans, the old David Banner fans, so that they can never say the shit was free. I gave it to you, here it go. You know, and I don't believe in the free. I don't believe in free. I believe that's how we have given our music and our talent away. I want to tell you something really quick. I haven't said this to anybody. I want to say it, but you'll be the first person that I said it to. I want to tell you that something that America has done and nobody has, to me, has peeped it out. What type of music is selling the least right now? I mean, the big genres of music. What music is selling the least right now? Or that has been hit the hardest by the so-called recession?
Honestly, yeah, I was about to say hip-hop. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, rap music and R&B music, right?
Right.
All right. So what do the most children want to do right now?
Rap and R&B.
So and then what they did was, right now the internet was popping, you know, besides medicine and all oil and all of the super big things. So we have convinced everybody to put everything online when black people are not even in that sector. So whereas we have started getting our own record stores and all of this kind of stuff, as soon as we were too close to controlling our images, what 2-in-1 is about, they now threw everything online, made everybody concentrate on rapping and being rappers while they are in the tech. And they're out there in Silicon Valley getting real money and real control, and everybody wanting to be rappers and don't even see that rapping not even sell no more. So you got all these kids spending all of this time and being distracted on trying to rap when there is, like, it's 3 rappers making money right now. I mean, real money. The rest of them are out here rapping. So I peeped it. I was like, damn, that's a real chance. You don't have kids focusing on computers or building computers or finances, everybody wanting to rap when they don't see that there's no money in it. I said it in one of my new songs. I said people say I'm selfish, but rap records don't sell. Why would I start a record label, put all my money and effort and time in a record label when there is no returns, when you don't yield any returns? Mm-hmm. But you call me selfish. No, you don't actually be me paying attention.
Wow. That's really insightful, and it's true. It's definitely something to think about. So you're basically saying that all of the visibility on the internet and all that is kind of driving young people to associate rap music with success. So that then the idea that you're going to be a rapper and become famous isn't necessarily realistic?
It's realistic, but you have to do it yourself. See, the thing is the shift in the economy has been compensated by me going directly to the fans. Mm-hmm. So that 87% that the label used to take is now cut out. Like, I had a conversation with another rapper where he said, man, how can you give your albums out for $1? And then I turned around and tell him, when you was on a major label, how much were you getting? He said 19 cents. I said, I'm getting $1. But people don't put it on paper. My dad taught me that. My dad said, if you notice what successful people do, they're not emotional. They put it on paper. Put it on a piece of paper, and it'll take all the emotion away.
Wow. That's powerful.
You can still be it, but just control it yourself. Mm-hmm. One of the saddest things to me as an entertainer is that, America was based on, taking advantage of certain races of people. And if you look at rap music, like that's what rap music has turned. Rap music has started echoing the sentiments that America has about black people. I was watching Django, and, when DiCaprio's character was fighting all the black people for entertainment, it reminded me so much of the rap game. Because that's what rap really depicts. If you're selling dope, well, who y'all really talking about selling dope to? You're not selling no dope to white folk. So what you're talking about, really selling dope to your own people. When you dissing folks, you ain't dissing no white rappers. You only dissing black folks. So what we are is entertainment for other people to watch. Watch us mutilate and ridicule ourselves and our own culture for other people's entertainment. Is really what it is. Mm. Wow. And that's disheartening to me. You pimping, but you only pimping one type of women. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to pimp everybody. If you're going to sell dope to everybody. But that's one of the unspoken rules on the streets. Don't sell no dope to no white folks. So it's saying that, like, I would respect people more. If you're going to murder everybody. But usually when we talk about murdering, we only talk about murdering niggas. Mm-hmm. And that's disheartening.
Yeah, it is. Wow. So, with that being said, and even hearing about everything that you're saying kind of leads me to, ask about your spiritual journey. Going through your metamorphosis, the things you've talked about with that. Sometimes people look at that and say, oh, you're changing, you're growing, but that's what we're all here on earth to do. So I'm just curious to know what's been your inspiration for changing and growing and developing. If you could just elaborate further on how that's happened in the process.
Pain and suffering, sweetie. God has a way of making us suffer when we're not in line. Think about everything naturally. If I always tell people, and one of my friends, he's from England. His name is Ron. He's from Manchester. I always ask him. I go to him, for advice a lot, and he never gives me an answer. He always asks me, "How do you feel?" When you think about my metamorphosis as it pertains to rap, I would go out on stage and it didn't feel right anymore. I think the stuff that I used to do, I needed to do it for that time. Like it was all purposeful. I used to get mad at myself now that I know what I know. Like, how could I do that? No, that's what you were supposed to do. Because if it were not for that, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be forced to grow. You understand? So if you don't feel right, it's not right. If you're not eating right and you're constantly not eating right, what happens? You get a stomach ache, right? Pain. So, like, you know, just certain things happen, you know, that were very painful. And at one point in my life, I think if I wouldn't have changed, I would have died, literally. So maybe, you know, if you really want to know, like, it was times that I couldn't sleep. So it was like really God just sort of said, okay, well, if you don't want to listen, because you know we hard-headed, I'll sit your ass over here in the corner. And listen, I guess that's what they mean by arms not long enough, but arms too short to box with God. You keep swinging, I got something for your ass. You know, because the thing that I always want people to know that the David Banner that everybody knew is still here. You know, it's still here and still inside. But I battle with him every day. You know, that's one of the things that I hope for people. You know, when people see my new lifestyle, the way that I eat and that I train, and they think that the old David Banner is totally gone. He's not. I fight with him all the time, and actually he's very important because at the end of the day, if I need to, put my foot in somebody's ass, that's still here. You know, I mean, I call it a utility belt. God gave us a utility belt, and if you live from it, you know, like some women look at, you know, being raped or, you know, some of the things that bad happen. Like maybe that, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but sometimes things happen to us so we can be the leader for other people so they won't have to go through it, or so they will know what to do when things happen. Like certain things happen that we think is bad, but sometimes it was meant to happen so you could shoulder that load for other people. And imagine you making that sacrifice so millions of other people won't have to. Imagine me going through the stuff that I went through coming from Mississippi and the pain that we went through as a race of people so that I can explain that to the world so maybe it won't happen to other people. Yeah, it was painful for me, but maybe God put that on me for a reason. My uncle always tell me, I stopped saying why me and say why not me. But let me tell you one of my prayers, though. I pray to God sometimes. I tell him I've been through some things that, especially mentally, that I never want to go through. But my prayer to God is that I don't go through it unless it's necessary for me to grow as much as I grew from every one of all of the bad situations I've been through was when I had my greatest levels of growth. If you sit down and really try to figure out what it's for.
Yeah.
I hope I'm answering your question.
You are. You actually are, and it's very powerful and very inspiring. It sounds so, you know, centered and grounded, and we truly appreciate. I know I appreciate what you're saying. It's very valuable.
We got 9 more minutes, so listen. This is very important to me. At the end of the day, if people think what I'm doing is important, they have to go and contribute at davidbanner.com. Because at the end of the day, if we don't pay, it don't matter. Like we are not I was telling somebody, you know, they were talking about the title, Walking with God. And I was telling them, you know, it's hard for black people to comprehend who they really are. And to ask people to go from beggars to gods, I understand that jump because it's hard for me every day. But we're not beggars. You know what I'm saying? We have to stop expecting and thinking that life is free. Ain't nothing in this life free. One of my best friends, her father always say free is much too expensive because you always end up having to pay. All this free music, now all these people wanting to be rappers, you're going to have to pay for that free music because you won't have a career. You wonder why your favorite artist is going off and doing movies and ain't making music no more. Hey, because of all that free music, everything, you have to pay for everything. I don't want nothing free. You always have to pay for it, and the price is usually way too much.
Gotcha. So we want people to go to davidbanner.com, go to the website, and make sure they show their support. download the album, make sure they're watching Walking with God and all of that.
Yep. I'll give you an example really quick. I had somebody tell me one time, why should I give you $1 for this album? And I was like, dude, you got A$AP Rocky, Chris Brown on the album 2 times, Bun B, you just name all the folks that's on Nipsey Hussle, Raheem DeVaughn, and you mean to tell me that you don't want to pay $1? That's what we've been reduced to. We don't see worth in ourselves. You know, that's what Walking with God is about. You know, a man finding a cat's kryptonite, as I would say, is him not believing in himself, him not believing in his own power. Imagine if I would have listened to what people said because I was from Mississippi that I couldn't do it. Imagine if I listened to them instead of that voice that God put in me.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. We appreciate your time. We really appreciate it and wishing you the best with everything that you're doing. Your insight, your vision has just been really inspiring and very powerful. Thank you so much for what you're doing and sharing your life. I think more than anything else, that's what people will take away from this.
Hold on. Last thing that I want you to do for me is make sure in there, tell the people that the thing that means the most to me is not just them retweeting it or going watching it themselves. If they really like the movement and they liking what I'm doing, I would ask them to tell one other person to promise that they'll watch it and then ask them to ask somebody else to watch it. Like, that's how Walking with God has grown. Like, we had 20,000 views in less than a week, and I purposely didn't do any major PR because I want the people that supported it to feel like it's something. Because think about it. When something is pressed on you from a massive perspective, then you just look at it and then throw it away because you feel like everybody is seeing it. So it ain't that important to you. But imagine those things that you find. Imagine those treasures that, because I even set it up where people couldn't view it on their phone. I want people to fight for it. I mean, I may lose a lot of people from doing that, but the people that do go on that journey, once they find it, then they're with you forever. We're creating a Star Wars, something that's going to be as great or greater because people have gone through that journey. People will stand outside for that journey that you take them on. You know, just ask people to go on this journey. You know, I always ask people, they ask me to follow them on Twitter, and I always ask them, I don't know where you taking me. I don't know if I want to follow your ass. Oh, boy, I appreciate you, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you as well. Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.